Hello, my name is Catherine Bokel, and you're watching Game of Thrones Mondays. For the record, I'm going to try not to yell and stuff a lot in this episode, or video, because my roommate is actually home and she's like on the other side of this wall, and I don't want her hearing everything since she has not seen the episode yet. So I'm going to try and keep my voice to a minimum today, but it's so not going to happen. So last night's episode was episode 7, The Bear and the Maiden Fair. Very obvious title. We can totally guess what that's about. Like I heard that and I was like, that's obviously about Jaime and Brienne. Like, metaphorically. And then in the episode, there's the whole actual Bear and Brienne part. So the episode starts off with Tormund and friends, and they're all gallivanting across the north there to go somewhere, and Ygritte's like asking Jon like how far they are, and Jon's like, oh, about a week, I think, and Ygritte's like, you think? But they have this cute little bit, and they're like making fun of each other and stuff, and it's fucking adorable. And then, of course, we finally get to see Jon confront the warg guy about cutting them loose. Thought this was going to be a way more explosive confrontation, but it was actually pretty chill. But the warg guy also says that Jon will never hold on to Ygritte because he doesn't understand how things work and she does, so he'll never keep her. And fuck you, warg guy, they'll be together forever. I hope. So then we skip to Robb, and they're kind of getting rained out. They're all soaked as fuck, and they're on their way to go to the marriage at Lord Frey's and stuff, and so they're all rained out, and they have this big talk inside Robb's tent. But they're getting kind of edgy, and then we kind of skip to like post-sexy time with Robb and Talisa. Then Talisa's writing a letter to her mother, and they kind of like discuss that a little, and Talisa asks Robb if he'll ever go to Volantis with her, and of course he's like, oh yes I will, and that'd be they're so freaking cute, like they just are. And then Talisa says she's pregnant, and it's like, oh my god, since when? That's so freaking cute, and she's like afraid Robb's gonna be like upset, and then Robb's so happy, and it's just adorable, and oh my goodness, it's so freaking cute. There's a lot of cute scenes in this freaking episode. It's very weird. There's a lot of coupley shit going on. Now we skip back to Jon, who's having a conversation with Tormund about sex, and it's very amusing, the analogies he uses. Then the war guy is talking to Ygritte about Jon, basically, and basically he literally admits to being jealous of Jon because he likes Ygritte, and it's like, well, that kind of makes sense now, like, why he's been all jelly, like, all these episodes. And then it's like, just like, stop, like, no, she's Jon's, go away, I don't like you, war guy, you're just interfering with one of my favorite relationships in this freaking season. Then we go to poor Sansa, and she's talking with Margaery, and she's basically realizing how naive she was, like, in her dreams of wanting to go to King's Landing, and how perfect it would be, and blah blah blah, and it's really sad because she's just growing up, and it sucks because she's stuck in King's Landing with these people that like murdered her father. And then Margaery is saying that she and Elena both want her to be happy, and I feel like maybe they'll come up with some scheme or try to get her out of this, or just keep buttering her up. And then Sansa realizes she's gonna have to sleep with Tyrion, and that's really freaking awkward and weird. Then of course we go to Tyrion, who's talking to Bronn about Sansa. It's sad because he obviously also doesn't want to be with Sansa. He wants to be with Shae, but at the same time he's a guy, and he's like, well, Sansa's really hot and stuff, and like, if I wasn't with Shae, I'd want to sleep with her, but she's also a child, so it's kind of weird. Then we have this weird scene with, like, Tywin going to see Joffrey. Just, like, the whole time I'm just like, I hate you both. Of course, Joffrey's like, I want to know about the Small Council because I care so much about my kingdom. And then he's asking why they moved the Small Council meetings, and Joffrey's like, well, now I'm gonna have to climb all those fucking stairs to get there. And Tywin's like, dude, you can just get someone to carry you. Like, he's such a wuss puss. He's just like, he's ridiculous. And then something that surprised me even, Joffrey asks about Dany, and Tywin's even surprised. He's like, kind of like, whoa, like, how the fuck did you know about that? So, like, Joffrey's kind of worried about Daenerys, and then Tywin's like, oh, your silly questions, and this is so annoying, I can't believe I have to deal with this, and the whole time I'm just like, hate! hate you both. Speaking of Danny, this was of course one of my favorite scenes in the whole episode. It's definitely between this and the scenes with Jamie and Bran. So they're outside the city called Yunkai, which is like this crazy city. It's ridiculous. And they're like this big slave city, and they have like 200,000 plus slaves, and it's ridiculous, and who needs that many? But it's just, yeah, they're kind of contemplating whether they want to, like, overthrow it and take it or not, and Danny's like, well, my men could kind of use the practice, but on the other hand, like, you might lose half your soldiers trying to take it, so they have these big walls, and I feel like that would be a bad idea. Then, of course, Danny decides she needs to save all these slaves because she's awesome and she's such a good person, and I love that about her. And then she tells Grey Worm to send a man to the gates to tell them that she will accept their surrender, but if not, they will suffer the same fate as Astapor. Nobody wants that. Then they send, like, a few soldiers and some sort of slaver, and holy Jesus, there is a lot of Unsullied, like, lined up to lead them there. Like, it's crazy. Then we switch to looking at Danny in this tent with her dragons, and oh my sweet Jesus, she looks gorgeous. And, like, she just has her 3 dragons there, and she looks so daunting. In this moment, she truly looks like a queen of Westeros, or a Khaleesi, as we all know. So the translator chick, whose name I forget, introduces him as Razdal, owner of some bunch of slave and nobleman of some ancient family bullshit thing that no one really cares about. And so he's coming to talk about their terms of peace. But then, as we all know, it doesn't get so peaceful. Then the dragons, like, screech at him, and he just looks like some scared little fucking pansy ass there. Just kidding, oh my god, the dragons! And you should be fucking scared of the dragons, which is why you should just surrender. So she tells him to sit, and then the guy starts to go on about how his kind has been around since before the dragons, and blah blah blah. Then Danny just takes a piece of meat out and throws it up, and all the dragons, like, screech and grab at it, and oh my god, then the guy's like, oh my god, okay, like, he just gets all afraid and stuff, because the dragons are fucking scary as shit, I can imagine. So then, of course, Danny takes this moment to mention that the Unsullied could definitely use the practice. Then the douche goes on to say that if blood is what she wants, then blood will flow, and that they can have a fight or whatever. Then he has the nerve to say that the Yunkai are forgiving and generous people. The nerve. Then the Masters of Yunkai have sent Danny some gifts, and we get some chests full of gold, and he's like, there's way more than where this came from, and it's all in all the ships you could ever need we have ready for you. You can have as many as you want. Just take those ships and go to Westeros and never come back and leave us the fuck alone. And then Danny gets all scary, and she's like, well, I have a gift for you too. And he's kind of like, what is that? And she's like, well, I will give you your life and the lives of your wise masters, but you have to do something for me in return. We all know what it's going to be. It's going to be to release the slaves, and of course then she says it, and she says on top of that, you have to give them enough food and water, as much as they can carry, and send them on their way. She then says if they reject this gift, then she will show them no mercy. And I just love that line and the look on her face, and it's just perfect. And the dude stands suddenly, and it kind of like scares the dragons, and he threatens Danny, and the dragons like screech at him, and he's like, well, I thought I wouldn't be harmed. And then she's like, well, I'm not the dragons, and you threatened their mother. What do you think's gonna happen? And she says he'd be wise to do well with her gift, and the dragons kind of like protect the gold without necessarily meaning to. So then the guy leaves, and Danny asks Jorah, like, who are the powerful friends that, like, the guy had mentioned could, like, defeat her or whatever and want her dead, and Jorah's kind of like, I actually have no idea, so she tells him to find out. And then, holy crap, the dragons are so cute, and it's, like, rubbing itself against her hand and stuff, and it's so freaking cute, and I'm so glad that the dragons are, like, very frequently in all these episodes. So then we skip to Tyrion. So Tyrion is trying to give Shae some golden chains, and she is not pleased at all. Like, she is pissed off, and they argue, and she basically will not hear anything he has to say. Like, she is angry, and there's nothing she can do about this situation. And it's just sad, because, like, Tyrion does just want her and no one else, but, like, she's so angry that she doesn't see that. And then we skip to Mel and Gendry, who are passing through the boat graveyard, and I thought this was kind of an interesting scene. We learned something new about Mel, that she was actually a slave, and so was her mother. And then Gendry is finally told that Robert Baratheon, the previous king of Westeros, is his father. And Gendry's like, but I'm a bastard, and she's like, but you're also a king, and it's just like, oh my god, the look of shock on Gendry's face. Like, and I've been waiting for this since we met Gendry, because it's been so obvious to us as viewers that he is, like, the king's son, but, like, no, they don't know, he didn't know that his whole life, and it's, oh my god. Then we go back to Arya with the Brotherhood with no banners, and she's not pleased at all. She's kind of sulking, sitting up on a rock, and she's just really mad that they let Gendry be taken away, and I'd be freaking pissed too. And there's more Lord of Light bullshit, and then Arya says that death is her one and only true god, and Beric kind of looks a little creeped out by that. Then they suddenly get word that there's a Lannister raiding party nearby, and then they're like, oh, well, let's go, and stuff, and Arya's like, what the fuck, you're supposed to take me to Riverrun, and then they're like, well, Riverrun will still be there, and she's like, seriously? So then Arya's just sick of this, and she just peels off, and who catches her but the Hound? Uh-oh. Like, I cannot wait to see what happens there. So then we skip and we see Brienne sitting alone in a room, and Jaime comes in kind of like to say his goodbyes, and they don't really know what's going to happen to her, except that Locke has now been put in charge of her since Lord Bolton is going off on some trip somewhere. And it's so sad because Brienne's just like, you know what you promised and stuff, and Jaime's like, I swear to you, I will return the Stark girls to their mother. Like, I swear to you, I will do that. And he will do right by her, and it's just so sad. And then so Brienne says goodbye, and Jaime cannot even bring himself to say goodbye. He's so upset, and he just, like, leaves, and it's like, oh my goodness, it is terrible. So then Jaime's outside riding his horse, and he's kind of having a tough time, and the Maester kind of helps him, and then he talks to Lord Bolton, who's going off to the wedding that the Lord Frey is having for his daughter and Lord Edmure. And then, of course, Locke intercepts Jaime on the way out and says that they'll take good care of her. And you are freaking creepy as fuck. And, like, this whole time I'm just like, I'm so scared for Brienne, and you can tell Jaime's so scared for her, and it's just sucks. And we have this weird / kind of interesting scene with Theon. These two ladies kind of come in, and they're obviously whores, and they kind of give him water and help him with his wounds a little, and then of course they start to, like, get naked and stuff. Then of course, just as Theon's kind of getting into it, the horn guy just comes back in, blowing his goddamn horn and scaring the shit out of everybody. Then Theon tries to run, and he's whacked upside the head with it, and then of course guards come in and stuff. Like, this is just a new form of cruelty. Like, this is awful. And then they, like, pin Theon down, and he's just screaming for them to stop, and then Horn Guy comes up with this scary knife-looking thing, and he's gonna, like, cut Theon's dick off, and that's a little far. That's a little harsh, I would say. So then we have Ygritte and Jon back to, and they're just hunting a deer or something, and Jon's basically saying how she can't do it from this far and stuff, and Ygritte's kind of like, excuse me, and then of course she gets it, and because she's awesome like that. And then they see a windmill, and Ygritte asks if it's a palace, and oh my god, you really are from the north. And then Ygritte's making fun of Jon, and of course Ygritte's kind of like baffled by like swooning and this fainting shit, and she's like, girls in the north are not like this, like, what is this? And they're just so cute, and then Jon is so worried about her because he knows that, or he's pretty sure that the wildlings will not be able to stand up and fight at the wall like they think they can, and he's so concerned for her, and then Ygritte's kind of like, you mean us? like, because John the whole time was saying you, like, you guys, and then she's like, you mean us, like, you are mine and I am yours, and it's so sad and so cute, but oh my goodness. Then we get to go back to Bran and friends, and then, Osha is afraid that Jojen is filling Bran's head with black magic and stuff. And then they discover that they're not just going to Castle Black, they're going beyond the wall. And of course, Osha's like, I am not going, like, beyond that wall, and neither are you. Like, this freaking three-eyed raven bullshit, like, no you are not, and stuff. And then she tells this really sad story about her, man, I guess. And one day he disappeared, and then when he returned, he was a White Walker, and she had to, like, burn down their hut with him inside of it. And, like, this is so deep for her and so sad, and I love getting this new information about her. And she agrees she will get them to Castle Black, but she will not take them any further, which I think is good. I do not think any of them should be going beyond the wall. I think they should all go to Riverrun and be with their mother, and not be going on some weird spirit journey. So then we go back to Jaime, and then the Meister's kind of like looking at his wound again, and we learn that they got all the corruption out, so that's good, so his arm's gonna be fine. And then they kind of talk about why the Meister lost his chain, and that's because he was doing experiments on people, and he was basically taking people who were dying and infecting them with disease so he could study the effects of it, which is really creepy and weird. So then Jaime brings up Brienne, and he mentions that they got an offer for 300 dragon rupees, I think they're called, for her safe return, like from her family in Tarth. And of course, Jaime's earlier comment about the sapphires comes back to haunt him because they feel like they're being cheated, so of course they don't accept this. And then Jaime's kind of like, holy shit, what have I done? And basically, they say that Brienne's gonna be their entertainment for the night, and then probably not after that, and Jaime's like, holy shit, what have I done? So he runs over to, like, the leader guy that's kind of leading their little expedition, and he convinces him that they need to go back, and they need to, like, because he forgot something, he needs to get her, so the guy agrees, and they go back, and it's all really dramatic. So when we return to Harrenhal, Jaime just leaps off his horse and runs to find Brienne, and it's so freaking cute, and then they find Brienne, and she's in this pit with a bear and a fucking wooden sword. Like, seriously, guys? Like, a wooden sword. And they have the nerve to be like, oh, well, we only have one bear, and it's like, fuck you guys, like, a wooden sword, and it's a bear, and she has this big gash along her neck, like claw marks, and it's like, this is not going well for Brienne. But at least that's better than rape, so, a little better. Oh, and they're singing The Bear and the Maiden Fair when Jaime kind of flies into this situation, and it's like, you know, name of the episode, there we go. And then Jaime runs up to Locke, and he's like, I will pay her ransom, and blah blah blah, and Locke's like, pay her ransom, like, this is way more fun than ransom and blah blah blah, and just being a douche, pretty much. So of course Jaime leaps in the pit to save the day. Leaps into the pit with the bear. That's some freaking romantic shit right there. So then the guy in charge of, like, bringing Jaime to, King's Landing, he starts to help out, and he starts shooting the bear, and Locke's kind of like, whoa, what the hell? And the guy's like, I am in charge of him, so you will fuck off, Locke, and I will save him. And then, of course, Jaime boosts Brienne out of there, and then Jaime is like, holy crap, bear, and he starts climbing the wall, and then Brienne, like, lifts him out, and it's really cute, and oh my god, I'm so glad they got out of there safely. I was so concerned for a minute there. So Jaime tells Locke, he's like, she's coming with me to King's Landing, and basically, you can fuck off, and Locke isn't pleased about it, but he lets her go, and then on the way out, Jaime's just kind of like, and sorry about the sapphires, and then the episode dramatically ends with a bear cry. Like, I'm so glad that all turned out well, because I was so concerned there for a minute, but everything turned out great. That was, like, I think that was my favorite scene of the episode, that or the one with Dany, so they're kind of both on the same level, I think. That was a really good episode. Like, a lot of stuff happened, and I can't wait to watch it again so I get to even pick up a little more stuff that I might have missed. Okay, and then we have the preview for the next episode. So Dany, yes, she's in this episode. I forget what it's called, but I think there's gonna be a lot to do with her in this episode. So she says there's a man who fights for gold, can't afford to lose to a girl. So that's pretty funny. And then later in the clip we have her talking to this like assassin or like leader of these like soldier guys, and he's basically like only I can save you at this point, blah blah blah, being a dick. And then someone's holding a knife to her translator's throat, and that's not good. I'm most excited for that scene to transpire. I can't wait to see what's going to happen there. So then we have the Hound and Arya, and we have, in the Hound's sleep, Arya's holding, like, a big rock above his head, and I don't think that's going to happen. Like, well, I think that's going to happen, like, in the episode, obviously, because it's in the trailer. But, I don't think she's actually going to do it. I really hope not, at least because I like the Hound. Then we have this shot of a guy strapped to a bed who the first like 3 times I watched it I didn't realize who it was, but it's Gendry. Oh my god, what are they doing to him? And we have Sam and Gilly, and someone or something has found them, and that is not good. And then we have some stuff where Sir Davos and Stannis and Joffrey being a dick, and we have Tywin, and we have Cersei's, and we have, like, all, you know, the King's Landing peeps are up in this episode, I think. And there's only 3 episodes left. There's only 3 now, so I am really, oh my god, this season is gonna wrap up really quickly, I can tell, and a lot's gonna happen in the last 3 episodes, and I am just so excited to see what happens. Like, you don't even know, I'm so excited, and next week's episode is gonna be amazing. And actually, come to think of it, this is the last Game of Thrones Monday that you are going to see with this background, because next Sunday I'm moving back home to New Brunswick. So next Monday you will have a different background, and you will have my Dany poster in the background, which will be awesome for Game of Thrones Mondays. So say goodbye to Game of Thrones Mondays here, and hello to Dany background when I get home next week. So thank you guys so much for watching. I know this video was probably a little long, but thanks for all the support, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. So let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this episode? What did you like, not like? So let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching. My name is Catherine Bogle, and you just watched my review of episode 7 of Game of Thrones Season 3, The Bear and the Maiden Fair.